All right, Preston Guy here, Mike Scarborough with here, and my buddy Preston with me, and LSU absolutely crapped the bed tonight, humiliated in Orlando by Florida State, and there's a whole lot of blame to go around. And Florida State, I know we've got a lot of their fans in here tonight, and kudos to them. Uh, they have a very, very good football team that they're going to be following the rest of the year. And LSU's got a lot of issues. This defensive backfield is as mediocre as we feared they might be. And look, I think there was a few bright points on the defensive front, but overall, I don't think it was as stout. I don't know if Mason Smith would have made a difference there. Offensively, look, they've got a lot of problems. You had the drops with Kyron Lacey and Brian Thomas. Jaden Daniels was not on. He did look like he did much in the offseason, just from what we saw tonight. But you've got to give Florida State a whole lot of credit. It was an outstanding performance on their part. And Jordan Travis, what more can you say? I think he's right there in your Heisman race as a front runner after week one. And what about Keon Coleman from Opelousas? 122 yards and 3 touchdowns. And, of course, LSU didn't recruit him out of high school. Ed Orgeron and staff. He makes his way to Michigan State, hits the portal. LSU is one of the schools that offered him in the portal, but he went to Florida State. And what a night he had. Unbelievable second half. LSU leads 17-14 at halftime, 31-point run. And bottom line, Florida State scored on 5 of their possessions to start the second half, 315 yards of offense in the second half. And it was a 31-0 run. It was a absolutely incredible second half performance by the Seminoles. Matt House didn't seem to make any adjustments. The defense was worn down, and Jordan Travis converting on third down and a couple of fourth downs was absolutely staggering. Some of the play callings, it wasn't often last year when I got after Denbrock and some of the play calls, but there were multiple play calls tonight that I thought that were just way off. And so I know we've got some Notre Dame fans in here tonight that want to enjoy in some of Brian Kelly's misery. I see some of that waiting for us. But Preston, go ahead and give your opening remarks.
Yeah, I mean, the story of the game is LSU in the first half, I thought, was the better football team. They were winning. It was 17-14, and they outgained them 293 to 2 what was it, like 222, something like that. American Patriot, thank you for the super chat. That was embarrassing. Congrats, Florida State. Concur with that. But LSU in the first half also missed opportunities. They had 2 fourth down failed attempts in the first half in the red zone. You could have kicked a field goal, or really on the first drive down there, you had basically 6 tries to punch it in from within the 5-yard line, and you couldn't get it done. So missed opportunities. I do think that those, if you convert on both of those fourth downs early in the game, there's a chance you're fighting at the end of the game, because the back end of that second half, man, that LSU team just lost its will to fight. That looked like a broken LSU team with no pride. The quarterback was trucking over you. I can't remember the last time I saw an LSU team with that little fight in the back end of a game. But yeah, Florida State, they look like a very good team. I think that's a big difference, is Florida State's a lot better than they were a year ago too. Watch out. They could fight for the ACC, and I'm still not giving up on this LSU team yet. I still think this team could go and do some damage to the schedule.
A former LSU player personnel guy texted me multiple times during the game tonight, and he kept texting me that he thought LSU was soft. And he also added that they need to quit star chasing and recruiting and recruit more kids from Louisiana and the South. And, of course, yeah, they sure did look soft at times tonight. I can tell you that. James Wade with a super chat. Didn't think it'd get worse than last year's LSU loss. Wrong, embarrassing. Yeah, no, last year's was one thing. Opening game, new coach, new everything. Um, this is different when you get rolled the way LSU got rolled tonight, and there's no other way to put it. Humbling, humiliating. Any words in that synonym to that you want to add, you can have that. Thanks for the super chat, James Wade. Robert X with a super chat. FSU fan here. LSU will be fine. I have a feeling we'll see you guys in the playoff. LSU's got a long way to go to claw their way back, and certainly you look at the schedule. I don't know. Look, you can pile up some wins, but when you get beat this bad, even though if you start to pile up wins and get to whatever and one in October, you're still going to wonder how good are you actually comparatively nationally when you open up this way. But I know I've had some text messages. I know you got a lot of them. A lot of LSU fans. Look, you like to see these type of games because it's a nice game to open with. But there's also some fans that hate these openers like this because they're so risky. Because then you can start off this way. You'd much rather have a New Mexico State and those type of games that you saw all the rest of your peers play on Saturday. Alabama opens up with what they open up with, and then they play Texas next week. So, but LSU will continue to do it in the future. They're going to start every season in the coming years with big games like this. They're not moving away from them. They just, you make $8,000 or $9,000 on each one, $8 or $9 million on all of these games.
LSU drops its fourth opener, by the way, fourth straight season opener they lose. And remember, under Les Miles, they had a long streak of winning their opening games. And it's been a long time since LSU's dropped four. I believe the last time LSU lost their four straight openers, without Googling, without Luca, I would have to say that's probably the Curly Hallman era.
Now you're gonna make me go look, but
no, trust me. Someone in the comment section will find it for us. I assure you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let me scroll up and get to some up above. Eric DeLine, someone needs to ask Brian Kell if we have the right coaches. Offensive play calling was a joke at times, and the defense cannot defend a third down for 2 years running. Do we have good coaches? I think there are absolutely good coaches. I think the problem that you have right now is that you're still dealing with a lot of transfer portal kids. The LSU DBU is not where it's supposed to be, what you're used to seeing. You're going out and getting kids from mid majors and FCS schools to be a part of your defensive backfield. You're a long way from Morris Claiborne's and Patrick Peterson and Stingley and on and on and on. There's nobody like that in LSU's defensive backfield. I like the safeties a bit, but your corners are a long way away from that. And when you've got a veteran quarterback for Florida State with some receivers that can run and catch and have height and are long, you're in a veteran offensive line for the Seminoles as well. You're going to have to do everything right. And they didn't get enough pressure on him, bottom line. Florida State.
What stood out about the DBs tonight? They got bullied in the air. I mean, those are some big receivers, but it was receivers going up and getting it over the DBs in tight coverage. I mean, there was some stuff underneath they gave up as well, but the DBs looked like they were short and just didn't have the length to play Florida State tonight. That's what really stood out to me.
Big Cojones Kella, Perk needs to play on the outside one game, not the season. Go Tigers.
Yeah, I want to say on that, I looked up his box score. He had 5 tackles on the night. One of them was getting dragged to the end zone just about at the 1 yard line. He had one really nice run stuff in the middle early on in the game. But outside of that, he was mostly a non-factor. And in fact, Omar Spates, you really spent more time seeing him gobble up tackles. He had 0 quarterback hurries, 0 sacks. He was, and there was a couple times they got him after, but he just did not seem as comfortable as being a true edge rusher out there. He got his feet tangled up. He ran into other players. He didn't close in and seal the deal like he did last year. I got to say, after one game, I'm not a fan, but we'll see. Matt House will figure it out.
Well, here's the other part of it too. We can talk about the defensive backs a lot. there's no doubt that LSU's wide receiver core is strong in numbers, and you've got some very good guys there. But when you're talking about your starters across the board, I don't think that unit is a typical when you look at LSU's elite teams in the last 20 years. Now, Malik Neighbors can be one of those guys, but almost every one of LSU's elite teams this century, your number one guy was a first round draft pick type of guy. And I think Malik Neighbors can be that. But you also had a number 2 and a number 3 guy that were first round draft picks or early second round. I think it's a bunch of good guys that are maybe like in your Terrence Tolliver range or your Craig Buster Davis range, maybe early Doucette. But there's no Justin Jefferson to a Jamar Chase or a Brandon LaFell. There's or a Dwayne Bowe. You've got a lot of numbers and a lot of guys that were highly rated, National 100, National 250 guys. But so far, we haven't seen it. And in the drops from Lacey and Brian Thomas, those guys just have not turned the corner.
All right. Question on that. So you saw Brian Thomas had a drop where he was running off the sideline just wide open for basically a touchdown. In my opinion, it was both a bad throw and a catch that should have been made. Because of the bad throw, both inside and under from Jaden Daniels, he was forced to go into a contested grab where he's sliding in and get it. That being said, you're a wide receiver at Louisiana State University. This is
it's in your hands. Time.
You got to catch that. So I think
that was underthrown.
That was just bad football from LSU. Bad throw, bad catch, right?
Yep. And of course, an underthrown ball like that and some others and some ones where they're having to contort themselves and come back and get it. And even though they should have been caught, those balls. But that also adds to, some more to the nuss bus guys, that are aggravated because they're seeing some of the same traits that they saw early last season. And I will say this too. Jay Daniels is a lot more effective when you're rolling him out. Trying to force him into being a pocket passer is not who he is. And I wonder how much of that was a part of the reason why he was not as effective as he could have been tonight.
Do you agree with me though?
He even seemed discombobulated in his run game.
Do you agree with me though that of the things you're going to complain about tonight, Jaden probably shouldn't be the first, but there are some things to complain about him. I mean, he had a 400-yard game.
I think the best performance of all of his weapons was Mason Taylor. He was the most consistent.
Definitely. Now, he had a 400-yard game. That being said, it might be the most unimpressive 400 yards I've ever seen, being that, 75 of it came on one garbage time play. And, he had 40 pass attempts and 15 carries. And, of course, he was your leading rusher.
Big Honus Kells, I just want to say thank you for that super chat. Go ahead, Preston.
And look, we got Dane Bergeron with a super chat too. Bring back Stickum to help with the drops. Boy, when they banned that, they must have banned that when you were in 4th grade, huh?
Thanks for the super chat, Dwayne.
Appreciate you, Dane. Appreciate you always watching shows.
Another one from Eric. He says, "Can we afford not to play Harris? Number 22 got burnt all night long." Thing about it is we don't believe me. If Denver Harris was the best cornerback, they'd play him. Like we've been saying for weeks, he didn't flash anything in the spring. He didn't flash anything in August.
Hey, also remember,
he's just not. There's been nothing that points to him being a guy right now.
Also remember, Deuce Chestnut did make that interception. And, if he didn't make that interception, you're in big trouble after Aaron Anderson muffs the punt, which how many times can you muff a punt against one team, man? I mean, that is a curse. Fortunately, LSU did not pay for it tonight because Deuce Chestnut bailed him out, but you would like to see LSU capitalize on that. Stands out to me, we're talking about Jaden Daniels running the ball again, 15 yards, 64 yards, 15 carries, I should say. Okay, so Williams had his one big, long 35-yard run, okay? Outside of that, your running backs had 14 yards running tonight. You could not run the ball with your running backs. That you got to fix that. You got to fix that offensive line. Got cooked again. Now, Florida State's got a very good defensive line, so I expect them to improve. Got to improve that.
Preston, you want to go ahead and put some messages up on the screen?
From the fans?
Yeah,
sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll pick some out. Let's see here. LSU fans should never be allowed to predict a win against Florida State ever again. Well, they're not going to play them for a while. Man, I'm scrolling through. BK special teams. Jaden getting great stats. That's what we were just talking about, man. Jaden Daniels did put up a good stat line out there. But an unimpressive 400 yards. 400 yards, but there were definitely some problems. The biggest problem with Jaden Daniels tonight that I thought was he didn't push the ball downfield. We talked about all offseason, the two things he needs to work on, pushing the ball downfield and not getting so happy-footed throughout the night.
There you go. Guys, if you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button. And if you're watching, please share to your social media. Very much appreciative when you guys do that. And, of course, we are brought to you by multiple sponsors tonight. And one of them, no bigger to us, who sponsored these post-game shows for years, is Kenny Haynes. And let's go ahead and hear from Kenny.
Kenny Haynes is a proud 1989 graduate of LSU Law School with a passion for justice. Kenny stands out as the only lawyer in the state, board certified in both appellate practice and family law. Drawing from 34 years of trial experience, Kenny has navigated the most complex aspects of real people's lives. If you need help in Northwest Louisiana with a family issue, legal issue, or a highly skilled trial attorney, call Kenny 318-222-2100. And speaking of winning, Kenny would like to recognize our 2023 national champions and congratulate coaches Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson. Go Tigers!
And of course, Kenny is the unofficial official lawyer of TigerBait.com, and he reserves the right to think most clearly for a paying client. And he's one of the best attorneys in Louisiana. Give him a holler. And a good friend of the show and a good friend of TigerBait. All right, let's scroll down and get some more of these comments. Ivan Salazar, our guys in the secondary look like midgets against the Florida State wide receivers. LSU is full of short guys in the secondary.
That's kind of what I was talking about.
Yep, and they didn't. There's a way. If you have a 5'11" guy, some of those guys can play bigger than they are. LSU's DBs certainly look small against those Florida State wide receivers.
Florida State, isn't Johnny Wilson like 6'6"? I mean, they have an uncanny receiving core.
Mr. Trevin Howell, 9-2 FSU all time in the win column.
Right.
Yep. Bobby Bowden feasted on LSU a good bit, and then there was a gap where they didn't play for many years, and it's back around, and LSU's lost to them twice.
I don't think LSU's beaten them since, I think it was 1982 is the last time LSU beat them.
And I was there for that one.
Oh, were you? I wasn't born.
Mm-hmm. Jerry Stovall was the coach.
Oh, how about that?
All right. Boy, I'm looking at some of the I can tell we've got a slew of Notre Dame fans in here.
You got to filter through the comments tonight.
Rodney Zephyrin, Florida State offense so much better. Jordan Travis much better than Jade. No comparison. Absolutely tonight. There's no debate as to who the better quarterback was in that game tonight.
No doubt.
I think Jaden will bounce back, but they've got a lot of soul searching to do at LSU and some weeks ahead to climb back into any type of discussion nationally. Carmen Allen can't blame Daniels for the drop passes. No, you can't. Too many wide receiver drops. Y'all can say Jaden underthrew all you want. Your job as a wideouts to catch everything if it hits you in your hands. That's what I say. Biggie Bull.
I mean, two things can be true at the same time. It can be the receiver's fault, and Jade can miss on it. But correct me if I'm wrong. Of the drops, there was only one that Jaden really underthrew. And that was the one that would have gone for a touchdown to Brian Thomas.
Gabe Weiss, why not bring up some of the Notre Dame comments? We are telling the truth. Okay. Let's see what kind of season the Irish have, okay? Let's hire the Honey Badger to coach the defensive backfield.
He was there tonight.
Tyrann Matthews is going to be in coaching soon enough. How much longer does he play?
2 more years.
I think he's going to be an excellent coach in the future.
Be
He's
an
already
awesome
stated
recruiter,
that's what he
too.
wants to do. Joe Billick, I'm dying about the Brian Kelly fraud. You got to hear portions of his post game. What did you hear him say?
He was just very straightforward. He said, "We are not the team I thought we were. This is my fault. I didn't prepare the team." He just was accountable. And then, of course, we had the post game show start, so I had to roll out for the back end of it. But here's the deal: are we really writing off this LSU team because they lost to a Florida State team who's probably about to be in the top 5 after that? Certainly Ohio State will drop, and I mean, it's the most impressive win in the country. And Florida State looked good. They did look good. They had some parts in the first half where they were shooting themselves in the foot, but that's a good football team. You could see the talent, those receivers. Travis is a talented passer. They're going to do some things. What this game ultimately means for LSU is not that LSU's done, not that LSU's cooked, none of that. Okay. What it means is if LSU wants to make the playoffs still, LSU has to win the SEC. Because you're not going to lose another game, be 10-2, and sit at home for the SEC championship and backdoor your way into a 4-team playoff. That's just not going to happen. You're going to have to win. You're going to have to go to the SEC championship, and then you can't lose in the SEC championship. You have to win it. So yeah, if you want to make the playoffs, you have to win the SEC, period. We'll see. I think LSU does have a chance to do it. It is a manageable schedule this year.
Well, it's look, the schedule is kind of set up for LSU, and that's one of the debates that we've had for the weeks to come. Which of these two teams would a loss hurt more? And I think it's kind of similar to last year. LSU's in the same position, like you said, where you've got an SEC slate to get through, and let's say you run the table the rest of the way, and then you set up a pivotal matchup in Tuscaloosa in November, and you win that one, and you're right there in the same spot last year, this year. But look, after the first month of last season, we're going to find out, are there as many question marks that we were thinking were a problem with this team at the end of September that we thought there were last year. And of course, we know what happened in Tiger Stadium on a Saturday morning with the Vols, and then beat Florida, and then the season got turned around, and then ran out of gas at the end with A&M, and then of course faced Georgia in the Georgia Dome. So there you go. You want to get some more of those? Let's scroll.
Yeah,
up here.
sure. It's not like there's 1,000 trolls in the comment tonight. Let's see. Kelly goes 9-3, which after losing this one, 9-3 is not unrealistic, which isn't a bad year per se.
Thank you, Sean O'Hara, for the super chat. He said, "What adjustments were missed? It's hard to believe Florida State got that much better in the second half. Go Tigers!" That was a shocker to me.
Yeah.
There's one thing when this LSU defense had issues last season that Matt House would usually dial up something and make some adjustments at halftime that you could know that were notable that you could point to in the second half, and those weren't there this year. And again, give credit to Florida State first before you start making the excuses. But LSU's got some personnel issues on that back end, and like I said to start the post game. This LSU defensive backfield is mediocre as we feared that they would be. Sean, thank you again for that super chat. Brandon Debiliak, super chat. Thank you. Do you like BK as your coach? and think will lead LSU to a title. I do think Brian Kelly is a fantastic football coach, and he needs to get some more players in here. And he inherited a roster with 35 players, and he's still having to dip into the portal. And got to get it done, though. You got to get some. You got to get it done with your high school kids, like he wants to build it. But in this day and age, you're probably going to end up having to take a bigger number of transfer portal kids than you'd like. And when you get those transfer portal kids, and you're battling for a Keon Coleman, you need to try and get him, even though a kid like him looks at your roster and thinks you've got too many wide receivers. Thank you for that super chat, Brandon. Biggie Bull with a super chat. Thank you. Thinking we go unranked this week or top 20. LSU will drop from 5 to what?
Well, I have to
13,
look.
14?
Unranked is just not going to happen. You're not going to go unranked after losing to a top 10 team.
Middle of the teens.
Let me look who's there, and I'll get them an answer.
I mean, you don't drop from 5 to unranked. I'm
No,
gonna say
that's not gonna
13,
happen.
14.
Off the top of my head, I want to say like 15. Let's see
Yeah.
here. All right, so you're going to drop USC, Penn State, no doubt. Florida State, of course. Clemson, assuming they beat Duke tomorrow. Tennessee looked great against Virginia. You're going to drop past them. Washington, they've got a lot of hype. You're going to drop below Texas. You're going to drop below Notre Dame. You're going to drop below Utah. That puts you down to 14. Oregon, I bet you drop below you. Oregon, they looked impressive against Portland State, hanging 82. Then TCU lost. So I think LSU will end up ahead of Kansas State, ahead of Oregon State. That lot. I think LSU is going to be 16 next week. Well, that's what I see. Oh, haha.
This one's for you, Preston.
Go back and listen to the Brian Driscoll interview on this show last summer. Everything he said is true, especially Brian Polian. Kelly won't take LSU over the hump, even though he's a great coach. Well, didn't he beat Alabama last year? Didn't he win the West in his first year? Like, I just don't understand why, as soon as LSU struggles against a top 10 football team, you're all over here instead of celebrating Sam Hartman and your big win over Navy this week.
Ooh. All right. Scroll down. Let's see. Thank you for that super chat, Brian. Let's get down here and see what we've got. Some more. We've got a big group, and if you're enjoying the show, hit that like button. Please share. And all right. The Fish, BK is elite when it comes to throwing players into the oncoming traffic of his own failures. Oh boy. No run game, trucking with Casper. No run game. JD still can't throw a football past 10 yards. Perkins, I'm not even sure he played tonight. And the secondary is trash. 4 loss minimum upcoming. Woo! Trucking with Casper coming in hot.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm not there. We'll see.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, we thought tonight that if LSU was to win, that you'd still be saying that the defense has a lot of work to do, and they've got even more work than we can imagine that we thought they need. And offensively, the wide receivers are going to have a bunch of fingers pointed at them. And I think Mike Denbrock's going to have some fingers pointed at him with some of the play calling. And that running back room has got to get better. And I will say this, if those running backs are not going to get uncorked and they're going to be as anemic as that group was last year, then let's see how quickly you can get some of the freshmen up to speed.
Yeah, Caleb Jackson,
I know a lot of people.
Trey Holly.
I know a lot of people were looking at the right side of the offensive line. That was something that Holly Rowe mentioned that she was picking up on the Florida State sideline. Frazier taking his lumps. We've been talking all August about, can Lance Hurd get inserted at some point and take that right tackle spot, then moving Emory Jones inside to his natural right guard spot. That's just some of the moves that I think we're going to see coming here. And Emory Jones will be back week 3. excuse me, John Emery. John Emery will be back week 3 at running back, and then we'll see what. If Mason Smith wasn't 100% this week, will he be 100% next? Do you need to play him against Grambling? Do you, where is he at physically? And do you just go ahead and withhold him until he's 100%? Because there's no need to play him next weekend if you don't have to, and you don't have to. All right. Anything else you want to add, Preston?
Nope, not right now.
All right, guys. I want to talk about our new sponsor, Koala.
Koala Insulation.
All right, Koala is on board with TigerBait, and right here in Baton Rouge are all your residential commercial energy efficiency experts. From bad insulation to blown-in spray foam to air sealing and attic ventilation, Koala looks at each project as a unique problem to be solved and can offer several strategies to help you stay more comfortable and save money on energy bills all year long. The approaches Koala provides can also help reduce airborne allergens, condensation issues, wear and tear on your HVAC system, and even lengthen the life of your roof shingles. Koala has the capacity to tackle large commercial buildings, spray foam applications, and new construction projects while being available to help everyday homeowners get some relief from South Louisiana's extreme weather. As an added bonus, many of Koala's products qualify for federal income tax credits. Give Koala a call today at 225-457-1001 to schedule your free energy efficiency assessment, and tell them you heard about them on TigerBait.com, and you'll get 7% off on your project. And Tim DeSell and his staff are fantastic. And please tell them that you heard about them on TigerBait.com.
Mike, I got to go see your koala construction project on your house today. I got to say, it was clean work, man.
Yeah, excellent work. Sean O'Hara, past Grambling, what is change number 1 for LSU?
Boy, that could be a list. And the thing is, some of these issues we're talking about tonight, I don't know that there's exactly an easy solution for. What is the solution for your defensive backs getting roasted? I mean, do you just put new defensive backs out there? I mean, you already are kind of running a lot of zone out there. Maybe the solution to that is put Harold Perkins on the edge.
It always goes back to Coach Dale and Hoosiers. This is your team. There's no magic bullets sitting on the bench in numbers. They're going to help you with multiple defensive back positions.
Right.
They are who they are. And what you would hope for was that off the edge and up the middle, you would get more pass rush. I need to go back and watch the tape. I didn't see much out of Savion Jones. Did you tonight? I think
he was there. He was running after the quarterback. I will need to watch it, but he didn't seal the deal. LSU had zero sacks tonight, whereas Florida State,
Swinson was more effective than he was.
Swinson was good. I liked what I saw out of Swinson. I didn't see much out of Ovi Agofu, which was a little surprising.
I think defensively, your best performer was obviously Wingo, and I'm not sure who I'd say was second.
Wingo was a beast tonight. There's no doubt about that. At least in the first half.
Cameron Donington with a super chat. Thank you for that, Cameron. You didn't put a comment, but if you put one, we'll add one. We'll get to it. Go ahead and add that one you just had.
Sure. Thank you, Cameron Dunnington. I didn't mean to take your comment down, but yeah, Colby Fudge. All right, what's the best case scenario at this point? I'm thinking 8-4, unless these guys find some unity. I mean, you went blow for blow for one half with a very good football team. You just completely imploded in the second half. I think in the first half, if you had taken advantage of some opportunities, you might be up 10 or 14 points, right? You didn't take advantage of those opportunities. You gave the ball up twice in the red zone by not converting on downs. I think Denbrock should take some heat for some play calling, going, going 0 for 3 on 4th down and 3 for 10 on 3rd down. That's you weren't timely.
The first red zone drive, Preston, they looked totally discombobulated down there, like they were not prepared for, almost like imagining, they were fumbling around the press box looking for their red zone call sheet.
Very disorganized looking, and
a lot of confusion.
I don't know why they didn't just try to bulldoze it in. You had 6 tries to basically inside the 5 because they got that penalty too. That bailed them out, and you still couldn't get it in. So that to me is like, really, you couldn't give Noah Kane a try to just go get a yard, go get 2 yards. Okay, you didn't do it on 1 try. We got 3 more tries. Just go get that yard. They tried to get a little cute with it, and I think it shot them in the foot. That being said, tonight you look at the box score. It's, LSU got outgained 494 to 460. It's about being timely. You got to get timely execution out there. I don't think this is a bad LSU team. I don't think this is an 8-4 LSU team. We might be talking about a 9-3. We might be talking about a 10-2 team. Right now, to say this team would go into Tuscaloosa and get a win is a little bit of a stretch.
I will say this. I think the worst case scenario for this LSU football team is 9-3.
I'm there. Now, if they go out and start struggling against teams the next month, I might change on that. But right now, I'm with you on that. And I think, honestly, we're looking at 10-2 probably.
But look, you're going to have to be willing to really let it fly offensively if this defense does not get any better. And they're going to have to get creative if they cannot find the right combinations in that defensive backfield and the right calls. And, you can look at some of those DBs and Ashton Stamps, is he a guy that you need to see more of? Here's the thing. It's not like you can, one of the guys earlier said, bring in Denver Harris. Those guys are who you've got, but maybe there's some guys that are going to need to get a bit of a stronger look and maybe get a bit more comfortable. But it was as bad as we feared that it could have been. And but that's also due to a top-notch quarterback that lit LSU up with his fantastic wide receivers, and the Opelousas native with an incredible night and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and a lot of these plays weren't necessarily bad coverage either. Like we were saying, they just got mossed. I mean, you're talking about big wide receivers going up and make plays. You think Keon Coleman had a little bit of fire in his britches tonight, going against his hometown team? 3 touchdowns. Absolutely. The dude was a monster tonight.
Absolutely. And what's funny is I remember seeing Keon Coleman for the first time before his senior year of high school at St. Thomas More in Lafayette, and 7-on-7 work in the spring. And he was on the same 7-on-7 team as Major Burns. Of course, Major Burns was on that 7-on-7 team for only a weekend. But that's when I first laid eyes on Keon Coleman. And a lot of people were saying he was raw and this and that. And why wouldn't he get an offer? And a lot of excuse made. But LSU wasn't the only school that recruits Louisiana that did not offer Keon Coleman at that point.
Yeah. I got to say, on that Keon Coleman touchdown, the first one over Major Burns, I was like, man, that's got to be the worst name for a DB because he got burned on that play.
Edo got the crabs. Mike and Preston, you think LSU could beat Florida?
Yeah, yes, I do. If Billy Napier was on the other sideline tonight, LSU wins 45-24.
There you go.
A lot of people are going to be calling for Nuss. I'm shocked that that's like the first call for Nuss I've seen tonight, which me and you agree. Jaden Daniels was far from perfect tonight, but he's not the first thing you should be complaining about as an LSU fan, right?
You want to do our next ad read?
Yeah, no problem. I'll be glad to take care of this. LSU fans, as you can see behind me, which I'm going to try to zoom in here. Up, other way around. As you can see behind me, I have the new Dylan Cruz artwork. It is called 7 for LSU's 7th national championship in baseball. And that is partly who our show is brought to you tonight by Jordan Spector Art. This art is guaranteed to catch the eye of any Tiger fan, and the details will hold your attention. You may recall the infamous Smokin' Joe, which you can see behind Mike there. But he's followed this up with 4 incredible Louisiana-themed pieces, and he's got more coming. He's got a Tommy Tanks piece on the way. Can't wait to get that and show y'all. But he's got the Tiger Stadium picture you can see behind me. He's got the Coach O Perfection piece, which I'm going to hold up and show y'all here. This is to inaugurate the 15-0 season. Really great season from Joe Burrow and Coach O there. And he's got Drew Brees and Dylan Cruz now. You can see that behind me. This piece, of course, was purchased by the Cruz family, so it's hanging up in Dylan Cruz's man cave. So very cool that you can get the same artwork that some of these athletes are holding. Of course, Joe Burrow with the Smokin' Joe, his parents literally have it hanging up in their living room. So I always find that to be a cool personal touch. The attention to details on these works is second to none. You can visit the link, which I'll put in the comments here, but you can go to spectorsportsart.com to go see it. Use the promo code TigerBait10 and you'll get 10% off your first order. Guys, I promise you, you're not going to be disappointed with the quality of this artwork. It will catch all your friends' eyes. Your man cave will be something to behold. Burrow, Perfection, Coach O, Timeless, Welcome to Death Valley Overshot, whatever it is, you're going to enjoy your work. That is spectorsportsart.com. Thank you for supporting our show.
And look, I've got those 2 behind me. Preston dropped them off to me, and the quality is fantastic on those. And if you're an LSU fan, I think you'll be glad to have those anywhere. Like Preston said, in your man cave, your office, your law firm. They're just really well done.
Great conversation piece. Anytime someone walks in, they always just want to ask about it, talk about it. And look, guys, do yourself a favor. If you go there, get the canvas. Okay. I like a framed picture. The canvas is the way to go.
There we go. Edo, and of course, his moniker's been the Nuts Bus Driver. And he goes, I can't believe y'all hyped Daniels up. It's one of those deals, Preston, where it's kind of like early last season where you look at the box score and you think Jaden Daniels has had a really terrible night. And then
you look up. Yep.
Yes, he had the one interception when Neighbors fell down, but his quarterback rating was 141.
He had 400 yards tonight.
Yeah. And but also too, look, LSU's run game is still putrid.
And Mike, let me ask you this about the run game, though. Let me ask you this before you go too far into that. Do you think part of LSU's running back struggles could very well just be because the lack of a vertical threat that Jaden Daniels brings means that they can stack that front 7? They can go man-to-man with their receivers outside. They can focus their defense on stopping that because Jaden Daniels doesn't go vertical.
I think that's part of it, but I think what's disappointing for Brian Kelly is that I think LSU's got one of the better offensive lines that they've had in a while. And look, you were able to punch it in on your second try at the goal line, but you've got to be able to run the football better than they're doing it. And that's just the bottom line. You've got some big guys up there, and I assure you, Brad Davis is not happy and was lighting into these guys at halftime, and will be getting after them all week long. That was just unacceptable. They've got to get a better push than that. Hartwing, LSU looked dazed and confused most of the game. Yeah.
No doubt about it, especially the second half. I will say it did look like 2 different teams.
All we do is dink and dump, and look, that's where who is LSU's deep threat? Where was Chris Hilton tonight?
Well, Chris Hilton didn't hardly play. I don't think. Did he catch a ball? No, he didn't.
I mean, he's your track guy. Did he get a chance to get Neighbors uncorked? Really? You had the drops by Lacey and Thomas.
Yep.
The running backs did some nice things, obviously catching balls out of the backfield. Bradford came right in right at the first drive. And I mean, that was an excellent start to the football game, and you didn't convert it to anything because of red zone play calling.
Yep. And then Aaron Anderson only got the ball once. And on that one play, it was a bubble screen and he took it for 7 yards, but he showed why, you want the ball in his hands underneath. And I'd like to see that, especially if you're going to do dink and dunk passing where you're probably averaging about 8 to 10 yards depth of target. Why not put the ball in the hands of a dynamic playmaker?
This is a good question, Trucking with Casby. I think we put up enough points to beat Ole Miss. Seriously. That could be the game that makes the decision on what kind of season you actually have.
Be interesting. I don't have that answer right now. We just have to see. That's the honest answer. Is we're gonna have to see. I mean, Florida State had a really good defensive line tonight, and I know they were good because I remember watching Verse just eat Will Campbell's lunch on a sack he made. So. I mean, we know what Will Campbell is and what he does, and to see that happen, I mean, Florida State had a very good defensive front.
Ranked number 5. No, they're not. And they're going to drop like a ship anchor and be somewhere in the middle of the teens. Brian Turner, shout out to Jaden Daniels. Regarding what people say, he put everything on the line for this program. And, yeah, he'll be back. He looked like he was sick about not only the way he played, but the way the whole offense performed. The Fish, we tried to warn you, LSU fan. Yeah, okay. I'm not reading that out, but is that a Notre Dame guy or a Florida State guy? I don't know.
It's got to be a Florida State. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a Notre Dame guy for sure. Again, I don't understand like why one loss all of a sudden you feel vindicated that Brian Kelly sucks because he didn't beat Florida. I mean, LSU won the West last year, beat Bama, like inherited a wreck of a roster and did all that. We'll just be patient.
Bama boy, Aaron Anderson is a threat anywhere. I tell you what, after you guys know I'm on the Aaron Anderson train and the conductor of it, leading the parade and punt muff. Unbelievable to see that. And but he started the first series, got involved a little bit, and then he disappeared. So I wonder where the staff slots him or where they view him when they're playing from behind, or in what sets and in what circumstances do they insert him in. I need to go back and watch the tape and get a real good idea as to when he comes in and under what set of circumstances. Tom Wood, our receivers drop everything. Preston, in 15 games, Brian Kelly has 3 20-point plus losses and 2 losses to unranked teams. How can you defend him?
I mean, he also has wins over ranked teams too. I mean, and yes, there was ugly
look Notre Dame guy. This guy took over a dumpster fire and got LSU to Atlanta. Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you do realize the team he got last year had 39 scholarship players when he got here, right? Like he's put a lot together very quickly. The fact that LSU was in the top 5 after a 6-7 team with 39 scholarship players that got blasted the way they did in their bowl game, the fact that he had LSU in this position to begin with is outstanding. They fell short tonight. Yeah, they got blown out in the second half by a very good football team. That's football, man. It happens sometimes. Give it some time. The fact that you had this position in the first place is a very impressive job. And if y'all just want to come and hate, go on. Enjoy your win over Navy.
Tom, it's funny how no respect for Florida State last week worked out for LSU. Thomas, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, who was disrespecting Florida State?
No one on this channel has disrespected Florida State. just because we picked LSU to win doesn't mean you're disrespecting Florida State.
Yeah, I don't know anybody on any channel. Everywhere I've gone,
no,
people were talking about Florida
we all
State was
said
the real deal.
how well coached and talent they are, and how talented they are. Get some new material, man, or lay off the sauce.
Yeah.
Over here, neighbors pointing to the sky means put in Nussmeyer.
He did point to the sky when Jaden missed him on a corner throw.
Yeah, Kenny, I had that in my notes, and Aaron Anderson ran the ball to the end zone twice, both short of the 20. No IQ. Yeah, I kept hoping to see that they would pan to the sideline to see if Kelly put a word into him after both those. It made no sense. Let those balls go.
Yeah. Especially you get it at the 25 now. It's not like you get it at the 20. If you just fair catch it, automatic.
Thank you for that super chat, Kenny, and also thanks for being our title sponsor each post game this upcoming football season. Silver Trum, I respected Florida State. They could make a run. Yeah, there's nobody here that was disrespecting Florida State. Now, the only thing we did do is say that the Florida State fans talk more smack in our comment section by far on all of our shows throughout the offseason than any SEC school we've ever encountered. And
my favorite part is how the Florida State fans have come to our channel throughout the last month and paid super chats to get their trash talk put up the screen. It's like, all right, man, you know, use your money how you want. But no, I mean, a ton of respect for what Mike Norvell's doing there. If you look at what he did at Memphis, he's going on a similar trajectory there at Florida State. I think Florida State wins the ACC.
I have a friend that was on the LSU staff and was also on Norvell's staff at Memphis. And he has said the things that he tells me about Norvell is as good as it gets, and what he thinks of him as a coach and the way he runs his program.
Wish you would have kept Corey Raymond. Are you on the Corey Raymond hype train again?
No, I like Steeples. Steeples just needs it's a Jim's and Joe's problem right now.
Yeah.
And
and you know, he needs to get away from rent-a-corners. You know, these guys who come in for 1 year and start developing some depth and talent guys, which I understand why you've gone with the rent-a-corner program, but you know, it's gotta they gotta develop some talent. Hopefully Taviano and Denver Harris in years to come will be those guys as veteran presences.
But this is where the problem is, Preston. We've seen many times in the last 20 years where true freshmen can come in and be elite as true freshmen at corner. And if you're saying you're hoping that a guy can develop and be a guy in a year or two, then he's not the guy.
Really? You don't believe in giving guys a year before they're out there as starters at corner?
If they're not flashing and they're not doing anything, those guys run the risk of being immediately recruited over because of that position. True freshmen can make an impact quickly. They're not like offensive linemen or quarterback. Yeah.
I do think they can make it relatively quickly, but I certainly do remember guys like Tyrann Mathieu who got on the field as a true freshman, but he wasn't a starter. You know, they worked him into that starting role.
He was an absolute stud, and shame on them for not. I'd have to go back and look at that. But,
he made some plays, especially against Texas A&M. But
yeah,
he needed to develop as a true cover corner a little bit. Also worth noting, in 2010, you know who the starting corners were? Mo Claiborne and Patrick Peterson.
There you go.
And then you had Ron Brooks too.
And Matthew played nickel.
Yeah, he definitely
came in.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think that there's even elite corners, you know, they take some time to develop. It's probably a quicker learning curve than quarterback or offensive lineman, but yeah, no, I could see it. And my point is, I would like it if at DB, if you stopped hitting the transfer portal so hard and got some recruits to come in and develop those guys who have more than 1 year before they're about to bolt out.
you keep every top-notch defensive back in Louisiana home, and you're on your way.
I agree.
All right, guys, Drip IV. LSU fans, beat the heat and get over to Drip IV for all your hydration needs. The heat has been killer this summer, and the dehydration is real. They will guide you to the perfect IV drip that fits your needs. These IVs are also great for anyone feeling under the weather or in need of an energy boost. They are loaded with vitamin C and other great vitamins and amino acids and electrolytes designed to get you back feeling your best in a hurry. Whether it's a hangover, cold, or preparing for a vacation, they have what you need. Located next to Shushiyama and Iverstein's and Perkins Crossing on the corner of Perkins and Essen, a super convenient spot, and they always welcome walk-ins. For our Lafayette Tiger fans, head to your local Drip IV in Cordoba off Ambassador Caffrey, First Medical Office building on the right. Drop in, check them out, and mention hearing them on our show for $10 off your first IV drip. For appointments, you can book them online or call the location closest to you. Call them 225-256-3634. Brittany and her staff here in Baton Rouge are the best there is. And everybody I know, most people are dehydrated at all times. Get to feeling good in a hurry and get rehydrated over at Drip IV. All right, let's scroll down and get to some more of these comments. We got a lot of you guys that are starting to pile up.
What I love is there's so many Florida State fans here. There's actually some Miami fans showing up to troll the Florida State fans who are here on an LSU show. Boy, it's like some trollception stuff going on.
Carnahan won. I don't think Daniels is the right quarterback. You have to have some kind of deep ball presence. I say play Nuss. So you're getting some more Nussmeier. Got people calling for Nussmeier.
Little late to the show, but I knew they would be here. Mike, what's your opinion on that? Would you work Nussmeier in?
I think Jaden Daniels would have to have multiple poor performances before I would pull that trigger. Obviously, Nussmeier is going to play a good bit next week, and he's going to get his opportunity. Does Jaden Daniels go the entire 2023 season like he did last year, where he's, and don't forget, he was probably about 20 pounds lighter last season than he is now. So if Daniels is as durable this year as he was last, I think it's gonna be hard for Nussmeier, but I just don't see Jaden Daniels performing bad enough to make them want to yank him for Nussmeier.
Well, you talk about durability, man. If he keeps running the way he's running, he there is no durability to it. He got
I'm gonna be honest,
WWE body slam tonight.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think LSU at some point should have went with some more design runs for him. I think at some point with the way the receivers were dropping balls, and then when you got down 2 scores, I think you should just went for it and had a lot more design runs for him. But even tonight,
15 carries tonight. How many do you think were designed of the 15? I would say a decent amount.
More than half. Half?
Yeah. Do you think he just took off and ran it?
I'd have to go
tonight?
back. I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch it again and chart that.
Yeah, I'd have to see. I can't remember how many times he took off and scrambled. I would say probably 6 or 7 is how many he took off and scrambled, and then we probably saw, 8 or 9 times that were designed runs.
Chad Bracey, good luck to LSU in the rest of your games. We'll be pulling for you to win the SEC. Go Noles. And Chad and all the FSU fans, congrats to you guys. You guys have a fantastic football team, and you laid the wood to LSU, and that's the bottom line. Y'all have got a well-coached team, and I think y'all are going to do big things, and I would absolutely love to see y'all beat Clemson.
It's funny. The Florida State fans
to the house.
Very well behaved tonight. It's the Notre Dame fans who are cutting up.
Yeah, but look, the schedule sets up for them. I think it's going to be very difficult. If they lose a game, it's going to be a major upset, I think.
Who, Florida? Well,
what I saw tonight.
Do they play Clemson in the regular season?
Yeah. They go
Well,
they go there, right?
Clemson's going to be a good football team, so we'll see. We'll see on that.
I think
That's the one team.
I think Florida State is the class of the ACC.
I also think it helps Florida State that Florida looks atrocious. I think Florida State plays the way they played tonight. They're going to beat them by 70.
Yep. Boy. All right, I'm scrolling up, guys. I'm trying to filter through some of the nonsense to get to live stream clipped. LSU looks soft and small. I got like I said earlier in the show, a former LSU player personnel guy messaged me multiple times during the show where he thought he used the word soft at least 3 times in his text messages to me during the game.
I definitely got that impression in the second half. I mean, especially that final touchdown drive where they just plowed LSU. Just plowed. Like they're trying to milk time off the clock and the quarterback is trucking you. I mean, they played with very little pride in the second half because they were just getting beat so bad. Blown coverages. Yeah. DBs definitely look small. We'll see about the front seven probably has a decent amount of size.
Scrolling up, guys. I want to get to a minute. Game over. Brian Kelly will never win a national championship. Someone says Palermo Trapani mods. Can you ban all these FSU? If I did that, I'd be here all night long.
Yeah,
you can't ban them all.
And look, on the Brian Kelly National Championship, I'll just say it as simply as this. Me and you have watched worse football coaches than Brian Kelly win a national championship at LSU.
Chase Roselle, we got beat by a playoff team.
I concur.
I think Florida State, with the way the schedule sets up for Florida State, if they aren't a playoff team, then something happened. They would have to have had a slew of injuries or something. Because it really does set up for them to get there. Bingo Tiger, tip your hat to the Knowles. Good team, good coach. Tigers are not done. Long season.
I concur.
Yeah, Clemson is in Death Valley, not easy. Yeah, but I do think Florida State is a better team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might lose that one, but I concur.
And that won't be the end of the world from them because they likely will play twice. You don't have divisions in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
BK will never win a national championship. Crystal Rose, BK spent all spring on the golf course. Well, I will say this, Crystal. He has played a lot of golf. I do know that for a fact. But that doesn't mean that they're not using every minute available under NCAA rules to practice and prepare. Scrolling down. Get some more of these. All right, guys. Well, anything you want to add, Preston?
Guys, it's going to be a long season. Y'all know where to find us. TigerBait.com YouTube channel. Me and Zach Nagy will be live tomorrow to commemorate more misery for the Tigers. But I don't sleep on this team yet. Last year after the Florida State loss, we were both apathetic and said, hey, this is a rebuilding year. It is what it is. I still think this team can be fun to watch. I still think there's going to be a lot of action to be had this year. So y'all tune in. Hopefully I'll see all of y'all tomorrow night.
I think you're going to have a real live show tomorrow night. That's for sure. And of course, because it's Labor Day, Brian Kelly's normal Monday luncheon. Of course, they don't serve lunch anymore. His normal Monday noon press conference on game week will not be tomorrow. It'll be Tuesday at noon. And we'll have all that for you on TigerBait. And of course, I go live Wednesday night at 8:00 with TigerBait Live. Brian Kelly's post-game press conference from tonight after the humiliating loss to Florida State is up on our channel. If you haven't seen that yet, when you head out of this show. We've got that on our channel. It's uploaded for you to watch. And I think he's pretty vocal about what he saw and taking the blame. And but it's all there for you on our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell. And Brian Lazar's instant analysis is up on TigerBait.com. If you're not a subscriber to TigerBait.com, go hit the try us out for $1. $1, you can try us out for a week. I think you'll really enjoy what we've got to offer on TigerBait.com. A lot of recruiting coming your way. And we're heading out to more high school football games this week. We'll be out Thursday and Friday night. And it's going to be a big week with Grambling coming in, 6:30 kickoff in Tiger Stadium. And so Mike Scarborough with Preston Guy. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks again, Preston.
Thanks, Mike. See you later.
Good night, guys.